So before we get started with our Essentials Etudes, I've prepared a number of little preparatory exercises, kind of a primer to get started. When you're playing fingerstyle jazz and walking bass lines, there's basically two things at play here. The right hand, you need to get used to just feeling the strings underneath each individual finger. So the thumb is going to be placed on the low E string, and each finger is going to be kind of placed on the DGB or the DGB and E strings. And the first thing to get going is just the thumb rolling on the bass line. So on the accompanying PDF here in the tab, this is the first of 12 little exercises that you can do, which will warm up your hands and get you ready for these etudes. So let's start with the first measure. It's a B-flat 7 chord, and we're just going to get going with a quarter note bass line played with the thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's nice and easy, and you just kind of get to the point where you're putting the thumb on autopilot, almost like if you're accustomed to Travis style or Chet Atkins style picking, where you're doing the boom chick rhythm. Just keep that thumb going. So in the second measure, now we're going to introduce a chord that's going to be played with our fingers. Now also we need to consider the left hand articulation, and basically, if we're going to finger this B-flat 13 chord, you can either keep the second, third, and fourth finger pressed down for a more sustained sound, or you can lift up 2, 3, and 4, just simply release it off the strings for a short staccato type of sound. Okay? So what we're going to practice in measure 2 now is just combining the right hand thumb with the fingers and releasing with the left hand. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, and... Okay, in the third measure, the next level of complexity here is now isolating the thumb from the fingers. So now the fingers, you can call this a claw. I like to think of it as a claw. It's going to be plucking the chord on the and of beat 1. So now you have to, again, keep that thumb on autopilot, and you're going to hit the first note, the downbeat on beat 1 with the bass, with the thumb, and then follow it up with the chord on the and. So now it sounds like this. 2, 3, 4. And just release that left hand. So it's important to not let the thumb, play at the same time as the fingers to separate those. So it's thumb, claw, thumb, thumb, thumb. Now in the fourth bar, we have a variation on that strictly uses the left hand to affect the articulation. So if you look in the notation, it's a longer note. It's a dotted quarter note. So basically, we're just going to keep the fingers of the left hand down for the chord. The right hand's going to be doing the exact same pattern. So here we go. 2, 3, 4. So just hold and release. Okay, the next line in measure 5, now we're going to have 2 chords. One is going to be right on the downbeat, and then the next one is going to be on the and of 2. This is also known as the Charleston rhythm. This is a really cool swing rhythm to get into your playing. So here we go with measure 5. 1, 2, 3, and... Now the next bar after that, measure 6, is the same exact rhythm, but now we're going to keep the left hand fingers down on the chord so you can have a sustained note. And listen to the difference that creates. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Listen to the contrast between 5 and 6. Here's short. Now long. So it's quite a difference in articulation that you can get going there just by either releasing the fingers of the left hand or keeping them pressed down. All right, another variation is in measure 7. Now we're just going to start off with 2 eighth notes on beat 1. And this is kind of a variation on the Charleston rhythm here. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, and... So if we break it down, we have both the thumb and the claw, just the fingers, thumb, claw, thumb, thumb. In the next measure, measure 8, now we just add a fourth note on top for our chord. And you are going to pluck that with the pinky of our right hand. So let's get that pinky to work. And now we're just going to, maybe just to start out with, just feel this B flat 13-9 chord. And you can even arpeggiate them if you want to feel the strings under your fingers. Make sure that pinky can hit that high C there. And we're going to do the same exact rhythm as in the previous bar, but we're just going to add the pinky and the high note to the mix. So here we go. 2, 3, and... Now, another exercise that you can do to prepare you for the etudes is just move the syncopation around the beats of the bar. So, for example, we just played the offbeat of the 2 there with our Charleston rhythm. The next measure, on measure 9, now we have the and of 3 being played. And then the measure after that will feature the and of 4. So this will get you accustomed to playing the offbeats of every single beat in the measure. So here we go with measure 9, the and of 3. A 1, 2, 3, and. And now measure 10. Playing the chord on the and of the 4. Now, because you're playing on the and of the 4, that's going to loop right back into the beat, the 2 eighth notes on beat 1. So you're going to have 3 eighth notes in a row. And that's a great exercise for building up your claw speed. So here we go with measure 10. 2, 3, and... Finally, the last 2 measures of this primer will be getting you accustomed to moving between chords, so moving from one chord to the next. And a lot of that via bass line is going to be achieved with the first finger, the index finger of the left hand, moving up and down, playing a single note line, because you're going to need your other fingers to finger the chords, the notes in the chord voicing. So this will be a good exercise in developing this sort of cross string, this horizontal facility with the index of the fretting hand. So here we go. A 1, 2, 3, and...